Continue our NFL team previews. We want to take a look at the Houston Texans. We call them Bulls on Parade too, referencing those J.J. Watt teams. Back in the day, they called Bulls on Parade, at least a famous article in the Houston Chronicle. But with this team, we love the quarterback, C.J. Stroud. We think now he's got 4 receiving options as they wait for Tank Dell to come back from injury. We got Derek Stingley Jr., the highest paid cornerback in the league, and a great secondary overall, to go along with a great defensive line with Will Anderson Jr. and Danielle Hunter. We think that unit can be dominant, especially with a defensive-minded head coach in charge of it. So we're going to take a look at this video. We're going to do our position rankings. We'll start off here with the offense. And let's start with the quarterback. We think C.J. Stroud is right there towards the top quarterbacks in the league, probably right underneath the Mahomes and Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen category. Joe Burrow maybe a little bit below that, but still good enough to lead a playoff charge. Look at the running backs. Joe Mixon, Pro Bowler last season, really made the difference in that Texans offense, we think. And the receivers, adding Jaden Higgins, Jalen Noel in the draft, and then Christian Kirk from the Jaguars. We think that's going to give the Texans a great set of receiving options, and that's going to allow maybe Stroud to avoid some of those blitzes and have the hot reads and be able to handle that a little bit better than they did last year. So let's flip it to the defensive side. You've got strength everywhere. If you look at the fact that DeMeco Ryans is such a really good defensive coach, former defensive coordinator for the 49ers, that D-line gives you Will Anderson Jr. and Danielle Hunter to bookend defensive ends that can put tons of pressure on the quarterback. But then on the back end, you've got a deep secondary that got even better, adding Super Bowl champion C.J. Gardner-Johnson at the safety position, go along with Derek Stingley Jr. and Kamari Lassiter. That could be the number one unit in the entire league. We think that sounds like an overstatement. We do believe that to be true. And then the linebackers also, a lot of depth, good variety, players like Harris and Al-Shaair. So let's take a look at the Texans' schedule and give our forecast for some of the tougher games this season. An intriguing matchup in Week 1 at L.A. We think the Rams make a good opponent for the Texans with their pass rush, and the secondary might be able to slow down Matthew Stafford, who's not exactly mobile back there. Now, when they face Baltimore, that's a whole different story. Baltimore is probably our preferred pick, the team we think is the best in the AFC. We don't know if the Texans quite measure up to them yet. That'll be a good test there in Week 5. Then, of course, the nemesis for the past couple of years, the Kansas City Chiefs. I am admittedly a Texans fan. I think all Texans fans would say they got a little bit robbed in that game, that playoff game at Kansas City. Some really questionable calls. They really match up well with the Chiefs, so let's see how they do later in the season. All honest Texans fans would admit that typically in their history, the Texans have been division round playoff good, and that's about it. We think this year, with the improvements they have on defense, with the receiving options they have, especially if they can improve on the offensive line, they could go further, at least get to the AFC Championship game, and who knows what can happen after that. They have the defense to do it and the offensive talent. Worst case, maybe they slip a little bit, get knocked out in the division round again. We don't think they should be challenged in the division. With all due respect to the Jags, Colts, and Titans, they are not in the Texans league at this point. They could be. But we do believe the Texans will win the South. I think they'll finish with about an 11-6, 10-7 record somewhere in that area. And we think that really, like we said, they have a lot of upside.
That's all for this time. Thank you for joining. Please subscribe to our channel, and we look forward to sharing our future videos with you.